A nurse donated blood to a stranger, unaware he's a millionaire single dad who will soon. Hello everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It's quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now, let's dive into today's story. A small act of kindness often has the power to change everything, and this is one of those times. It all started on a crisp autumn afternoon. The kind of day when the air is cool and the leaves swirl in the breeze, just before they fall to the ground in vibrant reds and golds. Anna, a young and dedicated nurse, was working her usual shift at a bustling city hospital. It was a typical day, patients coming in and out, the beeping of monitors, the sounds of nurses and doctors rushing from room to room. But then something unusual happened that would change Anna's life forever. Anna was walking down the hospital corridor, her mind preoccupied with the endless tasks ahead, when she received an urgent message from the emergency room. A patient had arrived in critical condition. A man was brought in, badly injured from a car accident, and they needed blood. Anna immediately rushed to the blood bank to donate. The urgency of the situation made her heart race, but it was just another day of doing her job. She had always prided herself on her willingness to help others, no matter the personal cost. She wasn't wealthy, but she had something much more valuable, her time and her kindness. As she entered the room, the sight of the unconscious man struck her. He was hooked up to several IVs, machines beeping in a constant rhythm. His face was pale, and there was an air of uncertainty about him, as though he had been pulled into a place between life and death. Anna took a deep breath, reminded herself to stay calm, and made her way to the blood donation station. She rolled up her sleeve, ready to donate. The blood bag filled, and soon, Anna felt that warm, familiar feeling of having done something good. She didn't know the man's name. She didn't know anything about him except that he needed help, and that was enough for her. After completing the donation, Anna stayed by his side for a while, making sure he was comfortable. His pulse was steady now, and there was no sign of danger in his vitals. She smiled to herself, feeling that quiet satisfaction only a nurse could feel after saving a life. Little did she know, this man was no ordinary patient. As the hours passed, Anna continued her rounds, feeling proud of the small difference she'd made. She didn't expect to see the man again, but fate had a different plan. A few weeks later, as Anna was finishing her shift, a familiar face walked through the door. It was the same man from the hospital, only this time, he was standing on his own 2 feet, looking strong and healthy. His eyes met hers, and he smiled, recognizing the woman who had saved him. "Thank you," he said, his voice full of gratitude. "You probably don't remember me, but you saved my life." Anna was taken aback. The last time she had seen him, he was barely alive, but now he was standing in front of her, vibrant and alive. His expression was warm, almost as if he had known her for a long time. He introduced himself as David Carter. And then, to Anna's shock, he told her he was a millionaire. David wasn't just any man. He was the CEO of a successful tech company and a single father. Anna's heart skipped a beat. The man she had helped was not just someone in need. He was someone powerful, someone who could change her life forever. David's next words were even more surprising. He didn't just thank her for saving him. He wanted to repay her. He wanted to offer her a job, a chance to work at his company, and even more, a new beginning. But as he spoke, Anna's mind was racing. She had never been one to accept help easily, especially not from someone with so much money and power. What would this man want in return? Why was he so determined to help her? And as much as she was grateful, she couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning of something much bigger than she had ever imagined. The question now was, would Anna accept David's offer? Or would she walk away from the opportunity of a lifetime? The days following their initial meeting were filled with tension and anticipation for Anna. She had never been the type to accept offers from strangers, let alone from someone like David Carter. Despite his kind words and his obvious gratitude, she found herself torn. David wasn't just a man she had helped. He was a powerful CEO, someone who had the ability to change her life in ways she hadn't even begun to imagine. As she sat in her modest apartment one evening, staring at the invitation he had left her, She couldn't help but feel a knot of uncertainty in her stomach. Her mother's health was deteriorating, and Anna's job as a nurse didn't offer much room for advancement. She had always dreamed of something more, but could she trust David's offer? She had worked so hard to get where she was, and now, here was a man with everything to offer her: money, opportunity, and security. But at what cost? It wasn't just about the job. It was about who she was becoming in the process. Was she willing to change her entire life for the sake of a chance to make a difference in the world? With a deep breath, Anna made up her mind. She was going to meet David. A few days later, she found herself standing at the entrance of a sleek, modern building. The doorman greeted her with a polite nod as she stepped into the lobby, the polished floors gleaming under the bright lights. The receptionist, a young woman with a professional smile, directed Anna to an elevator, and as she stepped inside, the doors closed behind her with a soft chime. The elevator ride was quick, but Anna's mind was racing. She had no idea what to expect. When the doors finally opened, she was met by David's assistant, who escorted her to a spacious office. The walls were lined with glass, offering a stunning view of the city below. The room smelled of fresh coffee and expensive leather, and there, at the far end of the room, sat David. He was dressed in a sharp suit, his posture confident yet relaxed. As Anna entered, he stood and extended a hand. "Thank you for coming," he said, his voice warm but firm. She shook his hand, trying to hide the nerves bubbling inside her. "I appreciate you giving me a chance to talk." "Of course," David said, motioning for her to sit. "I wanted to offer you a position at my company. I've been impressed by your dedication and your ability to care for others. You'd be an asset to our team." Anna's heart skipped a beat. She had imagined this moment, but now that it was happening, she wasn't sure what to say. Her mind raced. What did this mean for her future? Was she really ready to leave her old life behind and start something new? As they spoke, David outlined the details of the job. It wasn't just a simple office position. It was a leadership role in his company's philanthropic division, focused on improving healthcare access for underserved communities. Anna's eyes widened as she listened. This was everything she had dreamed of, an opportunity to make a real difference. But the thought of leaving everything she knew, the comfort of her small life, made her hesitate. She had spent years building her career as a nurse. Would taking this job mean abandoning the people who had shaped her into the person she was today? David seemed to sense her hesitation. "I understand this is a big decision," he said, leaning forward slightly. "But I promise you, this isn't just about the money. It's about the chance to do something meaningful, to change lives, including your own. You've already proven that you have the heart and the skills to do this." Anna paused, her mind weighing the decision. The life she had worked so hard for, the people she had grown close to in the hospital, and the chance to help thousands of others. Could she really say no? She looked at David, his sincerity clear in his eyes. In that moment, she realized something she hadn't fully understood before. This wasn't just an opportunity for her to help others. It was an opportunity for her to grow, to learn, and to heal parts of herself she hadn't known were broken. Slowly, she nodded. "I'll take the job." David smiled, and as he stood to shake her hand again, something shifted. This wasn't just a professional agreement. It was the beginning of a new chapter, one where Anna would find not only success but a deeper connection to herself and to the world around her. Anna spent the next few weeks adjusting to her new role at David's company. She was overwhelmed at first, trying to juggle the demands of her position with the high expectations David had set for her. The work was challenging but rewarding, and she found herself immersed in projects that focused on bringing better healthcare to underserved communities. She had always wanted to make a difference, but now, she was in a position to actually do so. David was supportive, offering guidance when needed, but also allowing her the freedom to lead. The more she worked alongside him, the more she began to understand his vision and his passion for helping others. It wasn't just about business for him. It was about creating a legacy of positive change. He was a man driven by purpose, not just wealth. As days passed, Anna found herself not only learning from him, but also growing more connected to the work they were doing. She realized that her role was not just a job. It was a chance to help thousands of people, including herself. She was no longer just the nurse who worked long hours to make ends meet. She was part of something bigger, something that mattered. One evening, after a long day at the office, David invited Anna to a gala for a charity his company had been supporting. Anna hesitated at first, not sure if she belonged in such a glamorous setting, but David insisted. "You've earned it," he said with a smile. "This is just as much your achievement as it is mine." At the gala, Anna felt out of place amidst the sea of wealthy individuals and high-profile businesspeople. She was used to the quiet, modest atmosphere of the hospital, not the bright lights and polished floors of a grand event. But as soon as she entered, David made sure to introduce her to key people, showing them how much he valued her work. The evening was a whirlwind of conversations, business deals, and laughter. Anna was starting to relax when David's voice interrupted her thoughts. "I want you to meet someone," he said, guiding her toward a group of executives. As they approached, Anna's gaze met the eyes of a familiar face. It was the man she had saved, the man she had given blood to all those weeks ago. He was standing there, laughing, surrounded by a few colleagues. His presence was striking, his aura different from the quiet man she had seen in the hospital room. "Anna," David said, his voice smooth and confident, "this is one of our major investors, and my good friend, Thomas." Anna's heart skipped a beat. Thomas was not just any investor. He was a key player in David's company, someone who had helped fund their healthcare initiatives. Anna hadn't realized just how much influence David had in the world beyond the company's walls. As the night wore on, she found herself in deep conversation with Thomas. He was charismatic, passionate about the same causes she cared about, and eager to hear her thoughts on the future of healthcare. The more they talked, the more Anna realized just how much potential there was for growth in the work they were doing. She wasn't just a cog in a machine. She was part of a movement that could change lives. After the gala, as Anna walked back to her hotel, she felt a sense of pride she hadn't experienced before. She was no longer the struggling nurse she had once been. She had transformed into someone who could make a real difference. The next morning, David called her into his office, and after a brief exchange of pleasantries, he got straight to the point. "Anna, I need you to take a more active role in the company. You're ready for this." His words took her by surprise, but in a way, they also felt like the natural next step in her journey. She had started this adventure unsure of where it would take her, but now, she was beginning to see the bigger picture. This wasn't just about taking a job, it was about finding a place where she truly belonged. A place where her skills, her heart, and her vision could align. And for the first time in a long time, Anna felt like she was exactly where she needed to be. As the weeks passed, Anna's role at the company became more demanding, but also more fulfilling. She was no longer just a nurse or a new employee. She had earned her place within the organization. Every project she worked on felt like a step toward something bigger, something meaningful. She had a sense of purpose now, and for the first time in a long time, she truly felt valued. But with the new role came new challenges. David, while always supportive, pushed her harder than she had expected. His expectations were high, and he often entrusted her with the most difficult tasks. Despite the pressure, Anna found herself rising to the occasion. She began working closely with the team, offering innovative solutions for the company's healthcare projects. Her confidence grew, and so did her connection with David. It wasn't just professional anymore. They began spending more time together outside of work, discussing ideas over lunch, attending events, and sometimes even just having quiet talks in the office late at night. She admired his vision, his passion for change, and his drive to make the world a better place. But there was something else, something deeper, she couldn't quite pinpoint. It was the way he looked at her sometimes, like he saw more in her than just a colleague. The way his eyes lingered just a little too long when they shared a conversation, or the small, gentle smiles he gave her when she succeeded at something difficult. Anna had noticed, but she wasn't sure if it was just her imagination or if David really felt that way. One evening, as they sat together in a meeting discussing the company's next steps, the topic shifted to a more personal one. David looked at her, his expression serious yet warm. "Anna," he began, "I've been thinking about something for a while now." His tone was different from usual, softer. "I know this may sound strange, but you've been an incredible asset to this company, and I believe you deserve more than just a job. You deserve to be part of something bigger. You've already changed so many lives here." Anna paused, surprised by the sudden shift in conversation. Her heart beat faster. "What are you saying?" she asked, unsure where this was going. David leaned forward slightly, his eyes focused on her. I'm offering you more than just a job. I want you to be my partner, not just in business, but in everything. I can't think of anyone better suited for the work we're doing than you. I want to build something with you, Anna." Anna was speechless for a moment. The weight of his words hung in the air. Her mind raced. Was this what she had been sensing? Was this something more than just a professional offer? She looked at him, his expression earnest, and realized that it wasn't just about business for him. It was personal. It was about trust, respect, and the belief that they could build something together, not just in the office, but in life. As much as she wanted to believe in this, there was still a part of her that hesitated. Could she really take this leap? Could she open herself up to someone again, after everything she had been through? The fear of losing herself, of being swept up in something so big and unknown, made her heart race with uncertainty. But David's presence, his genuine offer, and the way he had always supported her made her realize that she wasn't alone in this. She wasn't just a worker or a partner. She was someone he believed in. With a deep breath, Anna looked him in the eyes and nodded slowly. "I'm in," she said, her voice steady. "Let's do it." And with that, a new chapter began. Anna knew this was more than just a partnership. It was a journey of growth, trust, and maybe, just maybe, love. As they stood up from the table, David smiled, his eyes filled with a mix of pride and hope. This was just the beginning, and together, they were going to change the world. As Anna and David continued to build their partnership, they found themselves not only growing professionally, but also developing a deeper, more personal connection. The late-night meetings, the shared goals, and the moments of quiet support were transforming their relationship into something neither of them had anticipated. But despite the growing bond, Anna still felt a pull within her, a fear that she might be losing herself in this whirlwind of success and ambition. As much as she loved the work they were doing, she sometimes wondered if she was becoming too immersed in David's world, forgetting her own dreams, her own path. One evening, as they worked late into the night on a new project aimed at improving healthcare access for rural communities, Anna paused, looking out the large windows of David's office. The city lights sparkled in the distance, and for a moment, everything felt quiet. David, noticing her hesitation, walked over. "You okay?" he asked, his voice soft but filled with concern. Anna turned to face him, her mind racing. I'm not sure anymore," she admitted. "I love the work we're doing, David. I do. But sometimes I feel like I'm losing sight of who I am. I've spent my whole life helping others, and now I'm helping in a different way, but I don't know. Is it enough?" David looked at her thoughtfully, his expression serious. "Anna, you're doing something that's changing lives. But I get it. I've been there. It's easy to lose yourself in the work, to forget the reasons you started in the first place. But you've always been driven by your heart. That's what makes you so special." He stepped closer, his hand gently resting on her shoulder. "Maybe it's not about doing everything perfectly. Maybe it's about finding balance and being true to who you are, even in the midst of all this." His words struck a chord with Anna. She realized he was right. She didn't have to have it all figured out. It was okay to feel uncertain, to question, and to take the time to rediscover herself. The next morning, Anna decided to take a step back. She spent the day alone, walking through the city, reflecting on her journey. She visited the hospital where she had worked, and as she walked through the familiar halls, she felt a sense of peace. She wasn't the same person she had been when she first started as a nurse, but that was okay. She had grown, evolved, and learned so much along the way. By the time she returned to the office, she felt centered, ready to continue the work she loved while staying true to her own values. Later that evening, David noticed the change in her. She seemed more at ease, more confident. As they sat together for dinner, Anna looked at him and smiled. "Thank you," she said softly, "for reminding me of what really matters." David reached across the table, taking her hand. "You don't need to thank me," he replied. "We're partners, Anna. We're in this together. And I believe in you, no matter what." Anna's heart swelled as she realized how far they had come, both as colleagues and as something more. Their journey was far from over, but they had found something special in each other. Together, they would continue to change lives, not just through their work, but through the love and trust they shared. As the evening went on, Anna felt a sense of fulfillment she hadn't felt in a long time. She wasn't just helping others, she was helping herself, too. And in that moment, she knew she was exactly where she was meant to be. As the days turned into weeks, Anna's role continued to grow. She was no longer just a new addition to the team. She was now a key player in David's vision. Together, they worked tirelessly on various projects, improving healthcare for communities across the country. Yet, despite the progress, Anna still felt a lingering unease. The balance between her work and her personal life was delicate, and as much as she loved the work they were doing, there was a part of her that still yearned for something deeper. One afternoon, while working on a proposal for a new healthcare initiative, Anna received a message from her mother's doctor. The news was not good. Her mother's health had taken a sudden decline, and her doctor wanted to discuss treatment options. Anna's heart sank. She had been so focused on her career, on the excitement of her new life, that she had put off visiting her mother as often as she should have. Guilt weighed heavily on her as she quickly packed up her things and made her way to the hospital. When she arrived, the sterile smell of antiseptic and the hum of machines greeted her. Her mother was lying in bed, looking frail and weak. Her once vibrant eyes were now dim, and the lines on her face had deepened with age and illness. Anna's heart broke as she took her mother's hand, feeling the coldness in her touch. "I'm so sorry, Mom," Anna whispered, tears welling up in her eyes. "I should have been here more. I should have paid more attention." Her mother smiled weakly. "Don't blame yourself, Anna. You're doing important work. I'm proud of you, always have been." Those words, simple yet profound, echoed in Anna's mind as she stayed by her mother's side. For the first time in a long while, Anna felt the weight of her choices. She had been so focused on changing the world, but in doing so, she had neglected the very person who had always believed in her. As her mother slept, Anna stepped outside the hospital for a moment of quiet reflection. She needed to clear her mind. Her phone buzzed in her pocket, pulling her out of her thoughts. It was a message from David. "Are you okay?" it read. Anna stared at the screen for a moment, unsure how to respond. She had always kept her personal life separate from work, but now she realized she couldn't keep it all inside. With a deep breath, she typed back, "I'm struggling. My mom's health isn't good, and I don't know how to balance everything." The response came quickly. "I'm here for you. Whatever you need, just let me know." Anna felt a wave of gratitude wash over her. David had always been more than just a colleague to her. He had been a friend, a mentor, and now, it seemed, he was offering her something more, his support in a way she hadn't expected. She knew that David had a busy schedule, that he had his own challenges to face, yet his willingness to drop everything to be there for her in this moment meant the world to her. That evening, David called her, his voice warm and reassuring. "Anna, I know it's hard right now, but you don't have to do this alone. You have a team behind you, and I'm here for you too, no matter what." His words brought comfort, but Anna still felt the tension in her chest. Could she continue to do everything she had set out to do without losing sight of the people she loved? Could she stay true to her purpose while still caring for her mother and herself? She didn't have all the answers, but she knew that, with David's support, she wouldn't have to figure it all out on her own. Over the next few days, Anna made the decision to take a step back from her work, at least temporarily. She spent more time with her mother, helping her with anything she needed and reconnecting with the woman who had given so much for her. Anna realized that while she loved the work she was doing, her family and her own well-being had to come first. With David's encouragement and the strength of her own convictions, Anna found the balance she had been searching for. And as her mother's health stabilized, Anna realized that she had not only been healing her mother, but healing herself as well. The journey was far from over, but Anna knew that she could face whatever came next, with David by her side, and a renewed sense of purpose in her heart. Anna's life seemed to be moving in a delicate balance, where the lines between work, family, and personal growth were constantly shifting. Her mother's health had taken a turn for the better, and Anna was able to find the time to spend with her, making sure she felt supported and loved. Yet, the work at the company had not slowed down. David, understanding the importance of family, had given her the time she needed, but Anna knew it was time to step back into the rhythm of her responsibilities. As she returned to the office, the weight of the challenges ahead felt heavy, but with renewed purpose, Anna was ready to face them. One afternoon, as she was going through some files at her desk, David came in, his usual calm demeanor replaced by a more serious expression. "Anna, we need to talk," he said, sitting down beside her. His tone was softer than usual, and Anna immediately felt a sense of urgency. "What's going on?" she asked, putting down the papers she had been working on. David took a deep breath before speaking. "There's been a shift in the company. Some of our biggest investors are pulling out. We need to make some tough decisions to secure the future of the projects we've been working on." Anna's heart sank. She had seen the reports and understood the gravity of the situation. "How bad is it?" she asked, her voice steady despite the anxiety rising in her chest. "It's significant," David replied, his gaze fixed on the papers in front of him. "But I think if we focus on what truly matters, our mission and the people we serve, we can weather this storm." Anna nodded, her thoughts racing. This wasn't just about business anymore. It was about the lives they had touched, the communities they were helping, and the future of everything they had worked for. She could feel the weight of it all on her shoulders. "I'll do whatever it takes," Anna said, determination filling her voice. David looked at her, a slight smile forming on his lips. "I knew I could count on you." But even as the words left his mouth, Anna felt a tug of doubt. Was she really ready for this? She had spent her entire career focused on helping people in a hands-on way, in a hospital room, in a community clinic. Now she was being asked to navigate the complexities of the corporate world, to make decisions that would affect not just the company, but thousands of people depending on the healthcare initiatives they had created. Later that day, Anna found herself in a boardroom with David and the other key members of the team, discussing the future of their projects. The air was tense, the stakes high. As she listened to the various proposals and counterproposals, Anna realized that the solution wasn't going to be easy. There was a lot at risk, but there was also a chance to make a difference on a much larger scale than she had ever imagined. As the meeting went on, Anna spoke up, offering her own ideas on how to pivot the company's focus to the communities that were most in need. She felt the weight of her words, knowing that whatever they decided in that room could change the course of their mission. David, who had been watching her closely, gave her a nod of approval. "You've got the right idea," he said. "Let's do it." And in that moment, Anna felt the spark of confidence she had been missing. The road ahead was uncertain, but she knew they were making the right choice. They were not just building a company. They were building a future, one that was focused on people, on care, and on making a difference. That night, as Anna left the office, she felt a sense of clarity. For the first time in a long time, she was sure of the path she had chosen. The balance she had been struggling to find was starting to fall into place. With David by her side, and with her own heart in the right place, she knew they could overcome any obstacle. The journey was far from over, but now, it felt like they were on the right track. The days following the decision were filled with a whirlwind of activity. The team rallied together, working tirelessly to restructure the company's plans and prioritize their most critical initiatives. Anna, who had once felt uncertain in the boardroom, now found herself at the heart of the action. David's trust in her abilities had ignited something within her, a newfound confidence. The road ahead was still challenging, but Anna was no longer afraid of what came next. With each passing day, she found herself more attuned to the company's mission and her role in it. The balance she had struggled to find between her personal life and her career was becoming clearer. She had come to realize that her work was not just a job, but a calling. The work they were doing together was more than just building a business. It was about creating lasting change in the lives of the people who needed it the most. But even as the company moved forward, Anna couldn't shake the feeling that something important was missing. The connection she had shared with David had deepened over time, and it was clear that they both relied on each other, not just professionally, but personally as well. But in the back of her mind, Anna still held on to a fear. Could she open herself up to something more than just friendship and partnership? Could she let herself fall for David, someone who had been so supportive, yet so elusive when it came to their personal lives? That question lingered in her thoughts as she worked late one evening, reviewing some project proposals in David's office. He walked in quietly, as he often did when the day was winding down, and noticed her hunched over the desk, absorbed in her work. "You're still at it?" he asked, his voice gentle but full of concern. Anna looked up and smiled. "I can't seem to stop. There's always something that needs doing." David sat down across from her, his gaze softening. "You've been working nonstop. I know the team appreciates your dedication, but you need to take a break." Anna's smile faded slightly. "I can't help it. We're making progress, but there's still so much to do." David leaned forward, his eyes locking with hers. "You're doing amazing work, Anna. But you're also pushing yourself too hard. You don't have to do everything alone." Her heart skipped a beat at the sincerity in his voice. It was the same warmth she had always admired in him, the same kindness that had drawn her to him in the first place. But now, it felt different. It felt like more than just support. She could see it in the way he was looking at her, the way his words carried weight beyond just professional concern. "I'm not alone," Anna said quietly, her voice barely above a whisper. "I have you." David smiled softly, but his eyes darkened for a moment, as if he were searching for the right words. "I've always believed in you, Anna. From the moment we met, I knew you had the ability to change the world. But sometimes, I wonder if you truly understand how much you mean to me. Not just as a colleague, but as someone who's become incredibly important to me." Anna's breath caught in her throat. For a moment, the world around her seemed to fall away, and all that was left was the quiet connection between them. She had known all along that their bond was special, but hearing those words from him, those words that carried more than just friendship, stirred something deep inside her. "David, her voice trailed off as the words caught in her throat. She had always been the strong one, the one who held everything together. But in that moment, with David's words hanging in the air, Anna realized how much she had longed for this, for someone who truly saw her, not just as a nurse, not just as a partner, but as a woman who could love and be loved in return. David reached out, taking her hand gently in his. "You don't have to say anything, Anna. I just needed you to know that. No matter what happens with the company, no matter where our paths take us, you're the one I want by my side." Anna's heart raced as she squeezed his hand. The tension between them was palpable, but it was a tension filled with hope, with possibility. And in that moment, Anna knew that everything they had worked for, everything they had built together, was leading to something far more meaningful than they had ever imagined. Months passed, and as Anna and David continued to navigate the complexities of running a successful company, their personal connection deepened. What began as a professional partnership had slowly evolved into something more meaningful. Their shared vision, long hours, and mutual respect had laid the foundation for a bond neither of them had expected, but both had come to treasure. Anna had always known that she was meant to help people, but in the quiet moments they shared, she realized she was also helping herself, discovering who she was, not just as a nurse or a businesswoman, but as a person capable of love, growth, and vulnerability. As their relationship grew stronger, so did their commitment to their mission. The healthcare projects they had initiated began to show real, tangible results. Rural communities that had long been underserved now had access to better care, and the partnerships they had built were beginning to expand, reaching even more people in need. But with success came new challenges. One morning, David called Anna into his office. The tone of his voice was more serious than usual. "Anna, there's something we need to discuss," he said, looking at her with an intensity that made her stomach twist. She sat down, her hands resting on the edge of the desk. "What's going on?" she asked, her voice steady but with an undercurrent of concern. David leaned forward. "We've been offered a significant investment, but it comes with conditions. It would mean giving up some control of the company in exchange for the funding we need to expand even further." Anna's heart raced. She had always believed in their mission, but now they were at a crossroads. The thought of giving up control, even if it meant greater growth, felt like a risk they weren't prepared for. "What do you think?" she asked, her eyes meeting his. David took a deep breath. "I think we need to be strategic. We can't let our vision be compromised, but at the same time, we can't let this opportunity slip away. We need to make the right decision, together." Anna paused, reflecting on everything they had worked for, the people they had helped, the trust they had built, and the lives they had touched. She knew this was a pivotal moment. "We'll make it work," she said finally, her voice unwavering. "We'll figure out how to grow without losing what's most important to us." David smiled, a look of admiration in his eyes. "I knew I could count on you." As they worked together to negotiate the terms, Anna realized how far they had come, not just in business, but in their relationship. They had learned to trust each other in ways that went beyond the boardroom. They had found a balance between their professional goals and their personal connection, and with that balance came the strength to face any challenge. The negotiations were long and difficult, but in the end, Anna and David secured the deal that would allow their company to continue growing while staying true to their core values. And as they celebrated their success, Anna couldn't help but reflect on how much they had accomplished, not just in terms of business, but in building something meaningful together. A few weeks later, as the sun set over the city, David took Anna's hand and led her to a quiet corner of the office. "There's something I've been meaning to ask you," he said softly. Anna looked up at him, her heart racing. "What is it?" David knelt down on one knee, pulling out a small box. "Anna, from the moment we met, I knew we were meant to do great things together. But I also know that we're better together, not just in business, but in life. Will you marry me?" Tears welled up in Anna's eyes as she stared at the man she had come to love. She had never expected this, but in her heart, she knew it was the right answer. "Yes," she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "Yes, I will." And in that moment, everything came full circle. The journey they had started together, one of growth, trust, and shared purpose, was now leading them toward a future they would build together, not just as partners in business, but as partners in life. Together, they had overcome the challenges, and now, they were ready to face the future, hand in hand.